Hey, good afternoon, everyone, on this Monday. How y'all doing? Well, it seems we have people who wants to lie during the court case trial of Libby and Abby, and lie for the defense team, um, and telling lies to the news reporters that who are right now and other YouTubers that are on the bad side of the line of this case, putting out lies. They could have changed their story and went back to the police, but it seems like they didn't want to do that. Those who went in to talk to police, now they're all saying, well, we were forced into this questioning of this is who we saw. Well, how could they force you to lie? You're the one that was coming up with the questions you being asked, and you told the police what you saw. Hey, Mustang. And if you want to ruin somebody else's life, since you all are lying to the people online here, the ones who has been lying during the trial, after the trial, and believing so much of those lies. They could have gone back to the police, but no, they did not. They kept the story and they told the story to Indiana State Police, FBI, other law enforcement, United States Marshals, and they're all been watching our website all the time during the trial. But you had so many people change their stories 5 million times. And when it comes to Rich Allen's lawyers, you flip to their side and tell your side of the story. You lie to the defense team. So at this point, who's lying? Who lied in courtroom? Who worked for the defense team and lied to them? Look at yourself. You're the one who's been passing lies around. And just like the other day here, we have a YouTuber who got a letter from Indiana State Police lawyers to cease and succeed and stop what they're doing of putting out lies. And that person says, well, I'm giving the truth. Well, the truth is they're now called, well, we're famous now. Let's change my story so I can get more famous. It's like those people in prison. They rearrange somehow so they can change their story to get their sickness, jail time, prison time, down to a minimum so they can get out. They lie about Ron Logan in prison. And I remember that in the news, some of those people, prisoners, who were supposed to show up for Richard Allen, they didn't show up. They did not show up at all. Did that person from Ron Logan show up jail? No, they chickened out. Because they were afraid they went in the courtroom and tell their story and go back to prison or jail, they would get hurt. So pretty much they wrote a letter. Well, Writing a letter doesn't consist of the real true story, even though there's cameras being watched by them at the time. So, what is it? You trying to make money? Well, we already know some of these people are making money off of this case. You trying to ruin the family's reputation? They didn't do anything to those two girls that day, but you want them to be the one who say they killed them. And Kelsey, you ruined Kelsey's life? Trying to say, well, she lied so many times. You know how many people lied to the defense team? And they believed it? Especially the defense team believed the story. It was Otism who killed Libby and Abby, which wasn't true. It's not true. And the four people who claim they did it, they didn't do it. They wasn't there. Because they would have parked down the cemetery if there were. There would have been more cars in the parking lot, at the Freedom Bridge parking lot. Or there would have been more at the welfare office. Richard Allen changed his story so many times. He told the defense team, oh, it was Otism who killed them. He has changed his story so many times in those interview rooms for the police. But you're all attacking all the law enforcement lied? Well, they did their job. Work the case correctly, and you're all making lies on the law enforcement. If those girls were able to form and appear in the courtroom, and they say, well, that was that guy who killed us. You know, if spirits can come back alive and say, our case is done because he's the one who killed us. Only the dead can clear somebody's name. But it seems like they don't want to listen. Rich Allen was there, and there was nobody else there. Rich Allen went to that cemetery first, and passing with his car coming back from the cemetery, and he turned around the cemetery, and he parked by the welfare office. And how they said he parked at the welfare office the same way he parked at the CVS store where he worked. So they know it's the same car. How the person parked, backed in, backwards, same way he did at the welfare office. There would have been more cars there at the park drop-off area. There would have been cars down at the cemetery. Well, the one McCain brother went down to see his mother's grave. He didn't see no cars there. He would have known. Because where his mother, the McCain brothers' mother and parents are buried, at the bottom of the cemetery, way back where the wood area starts, on Ron Logan's property and the old gravel pit. But it's like the old telephone. Somebody says something and gets blown out of proportion. And this is what has happened. It has been blown out of proportion over the last 6 to 7 years now. But they listen to the people who's been lying. And all started in Canada. Who made up stories on people. Oh, we need to call the FBI and say, this is who he is. He's a child predator. Wrong. Again. You got that from somebody. Oh, we need to call his Social Security. He's breaking his Social Security rules. No, because they got people's records from doctors. These people don't get it. They think they know what they're talking about, which they don't. Let's see here. Yes, so he's supposed to tell the defense team that, but I wouldn't be surprised if the defense team just made that up. Yes, that's true. And then going after, all these autism guards up there in Westville, Indiana. They're only all wearing patches. And that's where they got it from. And that's where Richard Allen lied. And it's sad. Yep, that's true. They have. They have turned a lot of people in. Louise. And defense team made up the autism to get them off. But, they were supposed to get them off because 72 days hold of Richard Allen, and he's supposed to got out in December. If they didn't have no evidence, he's supposed to got out in December. But, oh no, let's keep him in there so we can make money. And the person who goes by this Michigan saying, well, we put a one poster out on Holman and Vito, they're going to get arrested. Well, they got told to back off, and the lady took down that video. The dirty, Delphi Dirty. She says, well, I'm a news reporter. Well, the people you talk to from this case has changed their stories 50 million times. Has lied in the courtroom in front of the jurors. I had a video showing how the cartridge casing ejects out of the gun. If they showed that in the courtroom, they would have said, yep, those are the 4 marks, how the bullet comes out of the chamber. Once the muzzle leaves and the cartridge of the bullet slides out, they would understand how that injection. And besides, it was wet too. If he had the weapon, his gun would be wet. The chamber would be wet. And that's why he thought it was jammed. That's why the bullet was found in between the 2 girls on Ron Logan. And Ron Logan has nothing to do with this case. Because the person who was rooming in prison, in jail, he was trying to get a out of jail card. These people always are trying to get out of jail card. That's what they were doing. And they didn't show up to court. Those prisoners did not show up to court at all for the trial. All they did is wrote letters. Well, I wouldn't believe what they say in those letters either. Because they know they're being recorded at the same time talking to Richard behind those doors. And the defense team got Rich Allen's wife so confused, she doesn't know what's going on. All they told her, well, we'll get your husband's going to get out. Look what happened. All because they stuck on this one particular item that he was framed by the oldism, by these 4 people who killed the girls. No one saw them at the cemetery. No one saw cars at the cemetery. There was no more cars in the parking down there at the Freedom Bridge. They would have saw that. Only cars were parked there as the family that came to help look for the girls, and no one else. And the lady who saw Rich Allen 2 times, she keeps on changing the story. Well, she got in trouble by the law because she shot somebody. Boyfriend, I think it is. So all these people who called in law enforcement, FBI, thought, well, we'll get them in jail because they're the ones who were there and helped kill Libby and Abby. And they keep on coming and saying, oh, Randy killed him, helped kill him. No, you know where that came from? The dude in Canada, Ralphie. So those who want to believe the story up there, he's not here. He's never been here. It's stories and stories and stories that he got. Right now, he's working on Epstein's story. But those people want and believe Prop and these other people who put out lies. See, Prop put out the story. Oh, it was Abby's Snapchat. It's not Abby's Snapchat. I'm sorry. It was Libby. Libby had the Snapchat. Libby had the phone. We didn't see Abby have the phone when taking pictures and recording the video on the south side of the bridge. There wasn't there, but if Weber had that camera working on the south side, better photo. I had it up. People saw it. It was clearly, you can tell. You would be able to know who it was. But it seems like people kept on throwing things, but they didn't get a good camera, outdoor camera, or put up high enough that somewhere they can put it where nobody can get to it. This case would have been solved. We would have saw Brad Weber coming down the driveway in that white van. It would tell the right time. And yep, that's true, Mustang. That is true. So these people who want to twist the stories, and that's what they're doing. These lawyers who are trying to go to court for Richard Allen for his appeal are twisting the stories again. Same stories they pulled here at the same time at the court hearing in Delphi, Indiana, including in Fort Wayne. When I went to the court up there, Brad Holder's ex-wife was there in the courtroom, sitting where I was, in the back of the courtroom, waiting for them to call her for questioning. What she said, well, this is what I said. And the girl, sister to Elvis Fields, went there too. And believed her brother. It's kind of sad. Somebody trying to take the murder of Libby Abbey, saying they did it, and they spit on the girls. He spit on the girls. There was no spit. Like they said, there was no spit on those girls at all. So he really didn't know the case very well. And that police officer who was from Rushville, well, look where he is. He lied on police reports. He's in jail. He's in prison for lying. So pretty much they're taking a word of people who trying to get into the case and say they did it, which they did not. Um, so it's kind of hard of want to believe something that it's not true. Alice still didn't kill those girls. Those and all those other people who claim, oh, we killed, they wasn't even there at all. None whatsoever. None whatsoever. You already had people there and said there wasn't. And there wasn't there. But, and it's just sad framing people. And it's still going. And it needs to stop. Those people who wants to continue to lie and say law enforcement made them lie. No, you lied to law enforcement. You lied to the prosecutor in that courtroom. And then you change your story so it fit your narrative in that courtroom for the defense team. And so to get Richard Allen, President Allen, jail, and you're the ones who would let the killer go. And that's the problem. You're the ones who will be letting the real killer out. And it seems like once these people get out, we have seen stories over and over. Knowing that they're the ones who did kill those people, they killed themselves. In fact, later on, they have paper linking and filing. The photos that were Richard Allen in on those trails, that's him. I told you exactly where they were, where he was standing at. What trail he was on. He was caught. Libby was already bare naked at the bottom of the hill close to that creek where they crossed. That river was high, the creek, because it was. We had tons of snow through January and through half of February that year. That creek was high. And Libby walked across that creek freezing to death, probably. So cold. Because she didn't have nothing else on. But Abby did. But she hasn't changed her clothes because her clothes were cold and wet and damped that day. How would Richard Allen know a white van? How would Richard Allen saw the white van on that driveway of Brad Weber's driveway in the van? How would he know that? Question. Think about that. How would he know that? No one else would. No one was there when they took the girls away and saw them. Only that one lady who passed Living Abby on the way back to her vehicle, and then later saw Richard running through the cornfield, he ran behind the harvest store where there was no cameras, and that's why nobody couldn't find him. I show the route he went, the way he hid, so he wouldn't be seen on the camera. But he got seen on the camera driving back to where the welfare office was. He lied about, oh, it's the farmer's insurance. No, that wasn't no farmer's insurance. See, that's another lie he told. You really don't know the area very well. Farmer's state insurance moved into town. So I figure I'll put my 2 cents in. He didn't. He also implied. Yeah. It's true, Louise. It's true. Well, that's about it. Hey, thanks for coming. Louisa Mustang, thanks for coming. And those who were watching with us today and stuff. Thanks. I appreciate it. And I'll talk to you all later. Bye now. Have a good day.